Okay, welcome. We're going to have a chat today, a little brief history of coal mining and an in-depth look at coal mining miners' lamps. Now, if you're a collector, a dealer, or just interested in history, stick around. You're going to find today's video very interesting and full of facts, and yeah, I just thought you might enjoy it. A little quick introduction. My name is Walter O'Neill. I'm a UK antique dealer, reseller. I buy and sell antiques, collectibles. Everything goes on my own website, antiquesarena.com, or I make my YouTube video all about antiques and collectibles. Everything from tutorials to haul videos. So check out my YouTube videos and check out my website. So, should we dive right into today's video? So, the history of coal mining. Coal has been used for 3 to 4,000 years BC for both heating homes and for metalworking, so for fueling fires for metalworking and things like that. Um, there's two main types of coal mines. First of all, you had an open cast mine. Now, an open cast mine, I'm going to share a picture with you, but an open cast mine is a very messy way of doing things. It destroys everything in that vicinity. Basically, they would literally strip the top surface of the ground, all the topsoil, all the trees, all the vegetation would be just pushed to a big pile in one side. And then you dig down this massive, massive hole, sometimes the size of a city. And you keep going down hundreds of feet until you extracted all the minerals you wanted. Then costly enterprise of filling it back in and making it suitable for the environment once again. But what we're going to focus on today is more shaft mining. Okay, so what do I mean by shaft mining? Now, it's obviously you've got multiple different types of shaft mining. You've got gold mining and coal mining and all silver mines, you name it. But generically, they are basically a shaft. Let's say, for argument's sake, a 10 or a 15, 20-foot square channel dug in, tunnel then into the ground. Some of these go down hundreds and hundreds of yards underground and travel for miles. And what they're looking for in this instance would be the coal seam. And this would be a seam, maybe 10 foot, 20 foot thick, running 200 or 300 yards underground. And once they hit that seam, they would follow the seam and dig it out. So you'd then end up with however big the seam was, that's what they would dig out. And this could go on for miles and miles and miles. I live in the Welsh Valleys, and this is a very, very heavily mined area. There's tunnels and mine shafts everywhere, which then causes subsidence or subsidence in properties and things like that when they sink in years to come. But yeah, these miners, they would tunnel down deep, deep down underground, and they'd install little like miniature train tracks with little carts on there, and they'd hit the seam, they'd dig it out, fill the cart up, and they'd push it out. As you can imagine, very, very hard, very, very dangerous labor. So, if you're hundreds of yards underground, what are you going to do to see? Light's really, really important. Now, early miners used open flame candle lamps, or open flame lamps in general, an oil lamp or something like that, maybe a whale lamp. But the problem with this is when you're digging underground, methane seeps into the open mines, so the shafts itself fill up with methane gas as it seeps in from the earth. Then they'd go down underground with their open flame and massive explosions, massive cave ins, and countless lives have been lost due to explosions. So you would then think there's got to be another way of doing it. And then they started introducing miners' lamps, or the invention of miners' lamps. We'll talk about them in just a moment. I just wanted to say about some of the conditions down in the coal mines. Children as young as 6 years old used to sit down in a coal mine for up to 10 hours a day in pitch blackness, sitting next to a mine shaft trapdoor. waiting for the coal miner to come up with his cart, and then it'd be his task then to open the door to let the miner through and then reclose it. Um, and they'd sit there with no light because you can imagine they weren't going to give a 6-year-old child an expensive lamp or candles or anything that would cost money. They would expect them to sit there in the dark. So this was at hard times for people. Okay, so out of necessity, a miner's lamp was born. The first miner's Clanny lamp was invented by Dr. William Reed Clanny. He was an Irish physician and he created the lamp in response to frequent explosions and accidents in 1813. Now, you would think that that would be the end of the explosions and things underground due to the safety features of the Clanny lamp. However, the Clanny lamp was big and bulky. The Clanny lamp didn't project a huge amount of light, and the original Clanny lamp was expensive, so not many miners could afford them. So they still continued to use open flames. So if we fast forward all the way through then to about 1860 in South Wales, United Kingdom, there's a company started up called Evan Thomas, later becoming Thomas and Williams. Now, Evan Thomas was an ironmonger who founded Cambrian Lampworks rather in Aberdeen. Now, their original focus was improvement and adaptability of the original Clanny lamp. They wanted to make it better, they wanted to make it safer, and they wanted to make it run on various minerals or fuels. By the 1890s, Thomas and Williams had gained prestigious awards, including gold medal at the London Mining Exhibition. Their safety lamp, both electric and oil powered, became essential tools in mining and other industries worldwide, contributing significantly to the safety and advancements in hazardous environments. But Thomas and Williams weren't the only lamps or lamp makers out there. In 1873, a company called Eccles Lamps was founded. Um, they were a legacy of the Protector Lamp and Lighting Company. Now, they founded the company in 1873 in Eccles of England, and their first lamp was patented in 1890. Now, you'd think to yourself, well, what were they doing for those 17 years? Well, I asked myself that question and I done some research. And from what I can figure out, they spent the 17 years researching and patenting different improvements. The first lamp patented in 1890, and it offered a safer alternative to open flames, significantly reducing the risk to methane gas explosions in mines. Their safety lamp feature included a mechanism for extinguishing the flame if methane gas was detected. And that really did make it a choice or preferred choice for miners. Now, one of the things miners used to do once these safety lamps come out was they used to take a canary down to the mine with them in a cage. Because obviously there was no longer open flames, these lamps were made of brass, so they didn't spark. Um, there was no open flame to detect the methane. So they used to take canaries down. And if the canary dropped dead in the cage, the miners soon ran out of the mine. Now, I also asked myself which was the better of the lamp, Thomas and Williams or Eccles. I can tell you now, as a dealer, as an antique dealer, Thomas and Williams lamps tend to sell easier, they sell for more money, and they just seem to be more desirable by collectors. Well, that's my findings as a dealer. However, I searched Google and which lamp shone brighter, which lamp was the most desired by miners, which one was the most respected. And to be honest with you, neither were crowned a victor. Whether it was Eccles miners' lamp or Thomson Williams miners' lamps, they both seriously contributed to the safety of saving miners' lives throughout history. They're both very important companies of producers of miners' lamps. Both have their own pros and cons, if you like, but neither of which are better than the other. They are both just equally accountable for saving lives. Then you look at a little sideline, if you like, to the miner's lamp, which is the miner's tally or safety token or check. Now, these are little brass discs or aluminium discs, if you like, and they were, if you like, a roll call. So when a coal miner took his lamp out of the stores, he would hand over a tally check to the store master. He'd then go underground with his lamp, and if there was a cave in, then they'd know exactly how many people were underground by how many checks were hanging on the board. It's not, if it was just as simple as how many lamps were in there, somebody could have stolen a lamp and people could die underground looking for somebody who wasn't actually underground. So they would hand over these tally checks. Each person had their own tally check, so it wasn't random. They knew whose check belonged to who. They'd then know who checked out these expensive miners' lamps. And if a cave in was to happen, they'd know exactly how many people and who were underground. That way, it's like modern days, and where you take a register in a school. You're not going to send a fireman in to risk his life looking for somebody who isn't marked in. It's that same sort of thing. Okay, so my conclusion is this. As lamps fade into history now, as we really don't have a major use for them anymore, they are still a testament in human ingenuity and unyielding spirit of those who chase the black gold beneath the earth. They saved lives, they're collectible now, and they tell an important part of human history. If you want to see, there is a written article on the subject on my website, antiquesarena.com, or I do have multiple miners' lamps available for sale on the said website. So I hope you've enjoyed today's little chat, and I hope it's been educational and interesting. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, please like, share, comment, anything to help the channel. Really do appreciate it. Bye for now.